You have returned what no army could find.
My name is Kale Dravin. I'm a salvager from Outpost Ven on the colonial fringe. 18 years ago, a Valari transport was attacked by Raven Compact raiders in the Dura Corridor. The ship carried royal cargo. He paused, letting the weight of the words crash down like stones into still water. One item of that cargo survived. The silence that followed wasn't empty. It was the loudest thing he'd ever heard. He reached into his satchel and pulled out a slender, silver data chip, encoded with 17 layers of Valari royal cryptography. He held it out with both hands, the way colony elders taught you to offer something valuable to people who could end your life without blinking. A court attendant crossed the chamber in swift, measured strides and carried the chip to the queen. Queen Sareva turned it over in her fingers. And then something happened to her face, a crack, small and devastating, splitting through features that had been carved from stone for decades. She inserted the chip into the reader on her throne's arm. For 3 seconds, the entire hall stopped breathing. Then the holographic registry bloomed in the air above it. Genetic sequence, bloodline markers, the royal seal of House Sareva, and one name, Lyra Sareva, born in the 4th year of the Second Quiet, lost in transit, status unknown. The girl beside Kalmira, Lyra, she hadn't been told the full story yet. He'd only said he believed she had family, that he'd found records, that she deserved to know the truth. She'd come because she was brave, and because somewhere deep inside below logic, below fear, she'd always felt the shape of something missing. Now she stood in her mother's court, not yet understanding what she was seeing. But Queen Sareva understood. The queen descended from the dais. Not slowly, not ceremonially. This was the walk of a woman who had been crossing the same impossible distance in her mind for 17 years, every single day of her reign, every sleepless night between one heartbeat and the next. Her guards moved to follow. She stopped them with a single raised hand. She stopped 4 paces from the girl. And then she looked at her, not as a queen, as a mother. "Your left temple," the queen said, her voice barely a whisper, but in that silence, it might as well have been thunder. "There is a marking, crescent-shaped. You were born with it." Mira's hand trembled as she reached up and touched the side of her head. Beneath her hair, beneath years of not knowing, a small crescent scar curved against her blue skin. She'd always thought it was from a childhood fall. The queen's armor, all that ceremonial weight meant nothing now. She closed the remaining distance and took the girl's face in both hands. And for one long, impossible moment, the ruler of the Valari Empire wasn't a ruler at all. She was a mother reading a face like a map she'd memorized in grief. "My daughter," 2 words. The resonance chambers were never designed to carry that kind of raw, breaking emotion, but they carried it anyway through every corner of the vast, silent hall. Guards shifted. Somewhere, someone inhaled sharply, and the girl began to cry. Not delicately, not the way royalty was supposed to cry. This was the kind of crying that comes from a wound you didn't even know you had until someone finally named it. Kale took one quiet step back. He hadn't done this for recognition. He'd done it because 3 months ago, sorting through a pile of salvage crates that everyone else had dismissed as junk, he'd found a data chip no one thought was worth reading. And he'd read it. And he'd known the way you know certain things in your bones, that somewhere a mother was still looking. And somewhere, a daughter didn't even know she was lost. The queen held her daughter for a long time. When she finally looked up, her eyes found Kale across the chamber. He was still standing at the threshold, ready to leave, like he was only ever passing through. "Human," she said. He met her gaze. "Kale Dravin," she corrected herself, and then with the full voice of the court restored regal, resonant, undeniable, she spoke words that would be carved into history. "You have returned what no army could find. No title exists for what you have done." Kale swallowed, dusty, human, 23 years old. And for the first time in his life, he had no idea what to say. The stars above the Valari system didn't just shine, they watched. Cold, ancient, the kind of light that had seen dynasties born and butchered long before Earth even learned to spin. Below, in the grand hall of the Valari High Court, a cathedral of white stone and gold filigree that soared 50 meters into a vaulted ceiling, the air didn't move. It waited. Warriors in azure and gold armor lined the walls like statues that might wake up and kill you. Their blue skins shimmered under chandeliers the size of dropships. Not a single eye blinked out of sync. Not a breath was wasted. This was a place where ritual ruled and outsiders were never welcome. Kale Draven didn't belong here. He stood at the threshold, dusty boots scraping against polished obsidian floors that probably cost more than his entire mining colony. A worn black travel cloak hung off one shoulder. Brown human hair messy, uncut, utterly out of place stuck out against a sea of blue-skinned faces. 23 years old. From a scrap heap on the outer rim. And somehow, he'd walked through 11 checkpoints, past 40 guards, across 2 star systems, carrying nothing but a battered satchel and a secret that could tear this empire apart. Beside him stood a girl, 17, blue-skinned, terrified. She'd grown up on the same colony, answering to the name Myra, but that wasn't the name Kale had found 3 months ago, buried in a salvage registry so deep and forgotten that even data merchants laughed when he asked about it. He'd spent those months cross-referencing genetic archives, bribing corrupt Valari clerks, and nearly getting his ship vaporized twice in unclaimed space. Quietly, carefully, because the truth he carried wasn't the kind you shouted over an open channel. The truth was this: Myra was the lost daughter of Queen Sareva of the Valari Empire, and the queen herself stood at the far end of the chamber. Kale had rehearsed this moment 100 times in his head, but nothing prepared him for her. Queen Sareva wore ceremonial armor of black and gold, her long white hair flowing like frozen lightning down her shoulders. Her crown was a sweeping arc of gilded bone and gemstone, but she didn't need it. She wasn't just tall. She was a gravity well in the shape of a woman, the kind of ruler who never raised her voice because the room itself leaned in to hear her whisper. Beside her, a younger attendant watched with softer eyes, but no less wariness. Human. The court herald's voice boomed, amplified by resonance chambers hidden in the walls. You have requested audience under the oath of open passage. Speak your purpose. Speak it once. Speak it true. Kale's hands were steady. He'd practiced that too.